Patrick, I'm not giant. You've shrunk too.
You're kidding! Good thing I still got this pickle.
Oh no, please don't come at me. This is just my opinion, and I do like these episodes, just not as much as others. Remember, all pigs are equal, but some are more equal than others. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about Spongebob Squarepants, or more specifically, their worst episodes of the pre-movie seasons. Not counting seasons 4 and 5, since while I do think they're part of the show's golden era, well, not everybody is as accepting, and that'd be way too easy. Now, SpongeBob is considered one of the most influential kid cartoons of all time. It aired in 1999, and it's been airing to this day. Like, no joke, it premiered a couple of months before me. We're basically the same age. As you might have guessed, I'm a big fan of SpongeBob, since this show, Nightmare Before Christmas, and Elmo, and also Blue's Clues, were my hyperfixations as a child. I can probably recall every line from the early seasons from memory, even if I haven't watched certain episodes in years. But I think we can all agree that no show is perfect, and even if SpongeBob is still one of my all-time favorite shows to this day, well, the pre-movie seasons weren't perfect. Blasphemy, I know. The point is, well, I think we should admit that for as brief as the early episodes were, well, there were problems. They were still working out the kinks, making things up as they went along, etc. But let me say that even if I might have placed them on the list, well, it doesn't mean I hate these episodes. There are some things I like about them, or they can make me laugh. It's just for one reason or another, I included them. So, let's discuss. Starting with... Okay, go ahead, roll the clip.
You abandoned me! You abandoned my hatred! I have got all that. Look into my eyes!
Oh no! The mighty monarch is overtaking my channel! Doesn't he know butterflies only live about 9 months? Yeah, not ready to face my fear of insect close-ups just yet, so this whole section won't include clips of that episode. Venture Brothers it is! Wormy is a classic episode of SpongeBob, and one that takes full advantage of the fact that SpongeBob and Patrick are undersea life, yet one of their best friends is a reverse fish out of water. SpongeBob and Patrick have to babysit Sandy's pets while she goes away. One of them is Wormy, her pet caterpillar. Really? Wormy? So like when he gets older, is he gonna be like butterfly-y? They befriend him and they have to go home, but overnight, Wormy experiences his metamorphosis, meaning he changes into a butterfly. Of course, he wasn't supposed to change until Sandy got home, so she never told them. But the thing is... SpongeBob and Patrick have no idea what a butterfly even is or that it changes, so when they come back and see it, they assume Wormy is a monster who ate their friend. And what doesn't help is, well, the close-up. The dirty, disgusting close-up that traumatized more kids than the subliminal messages lady.
You want to lose some of that belly fat right fast?
Put you on a cold steel diet.
Be the last diet you ever go on.
Boys, don't cut anybody.
Oh, go ahead and kill him.
Malcolm, I'm sorry. I'll stop cosplaying the Queen of Fury version of your wife. I know nobody likes it. I wanted to do cheerleader Sheila, but I didn't think I'd be recognized. I'm sorry. I mean, I liked it. Do not agree with him in front of me, Catherine. But where was I? Oh yeah. Fun fact, the close-up of Wormy isn't actually a close-up of a butterfly. It's a close-up of a horsefly for extra icky points. Real butterfly close-ups aren't so gross. I really hate horseflies though, but not because of this episode. It just makes it worse for me. I just hate how they sting you and stuff. And if you ever go to Cape May, it's like horsefly heaven. I hate how like every restaurant at Cape May is outside. If you couldn't guess, the reason Wormy is on the list is solely for the close-up, because that thing is freaky. Like, I'm literally panicking while writing the section. I had to stop to breathe a couple of times. The only other thing that's ever got me to do that was the 3W scene in Doctor Who. The weird part was, this was not exclusive to SpongeBob. The whole, like, clip of Wormy was featured in an episode of Bill Nye. They were just reusing stock footage, basically. As a kid, I didn't know well enough to be afraid of it. As an adult, yeah, if I'm scrolling on Facebook or Reddit and I see a picture of the close-up, my phone automatically feels unclean. Sometimes I'll even, like, toss my phone. I have to swab it down with a paper towel, and I need to wash my hands. And the sad part is, if it were not for that close-up, I'd probably list this episode in my top 3 favorites. I just find it so quotable, especially when Patrick and SpongeBob try to, like, warn the town. That whole sequence makes the episode for me. And I love when SpongeBob takes real-world stuff and turns it into an episode, like reminding us he's not like us and he'd probably react way differently. It's just, yeah, the close-up and the buzzing noise and the fact they repeat it 3 times like he's frickin' Beetlejuice. No, you are never as cool as the bee man, with absolutely no warning. If they just did something like we just see the butterfly flapping its wings and then that's it, I would say it's a classic. Heck, it'd probably be funnier in that case. But as it stands, I'm a coward with a phobia that I won't confront just yet. The buzzing like, oh, it rings in my ear. And I'm also a slightly biased critic, so I'm just gonna skip.
Working out is my life. I remember when I used to look like that guy over there. Who, me?
Now, I'll be honest, this episode I do think is plain okay. Not bad, not good, but okay. But we all have that one episode we forget about from a cartoon, even our favorite shows, at least until something jogs our memory. And I'll be perfectly honest, I just needed a temp spot. Like, I remember nothing in this episode besides the who, me? Like, what else do I have to say? Like, I don't know, it's just, really, I remember nothing about this episode. It's just SpongeBob gets muscles and they're bad or something. Like, okay, we're skipping this.
This is a nightmare! Gary! Gary! No!
Admittedly, this is a really good episode outside of the ending. Although SpongeBob crying when he thought Gary was gonna get crushed would make me cry whenever I saw it as a kid. I was sensitive and had emotional dysregulation, okay? For many people, this is a classic episode, but honestly, should we be holding it up as such? SpongeBob is sleeping and travels into other people's dreams, like he's the Doctor Who of dreams. Some of which are huge and magnificent, like Squidward having to play music before a king, or Patrick riding one of those kiddie rides they used to have outside the Kmart.
Huh. Shoot. That was my last quarter.
The thing is, this being SpongeBob, rather than just visiting people's dreams, he basically ruins them by being SpongeBob, or just generally annoying them.
Well, I guess I've got some explaining to do, huh? No, not the face!
And come on, sleeping is the only place where you're truly free, and Squidward puts it best.
Don't we get enough of you during the day?
In the later seasons, one of the worst staples of the show is SpongeBob kind of getting flanderized, where basically he spends 11 minutes annoying his friends and neighbors and acquaintances without realizing it, usually Squidward, or doing something stupid. Like to the point where it gets so bad once a year the whole town celebrates a holiday specifically made to be without him. Here, it feels like one of the first times it happens, and therefore it's very hit or miss. Even as a kid, this wasn't my all-time favorite episode. I mostly just watched it to get to the suds. The ending of the episode...
Hey, what are y'all doing in your pajamas? Are we having a slumber party?
No, we are not having a slumber party.
Do us all a favor, SpongeBob, and stay out of our dreams.
I have feelings about, like, how did they know it was SpongeBob exactly? Like, imagine how freaking ridiculous this is, even with context. Like, you wake up and all your friends are standing over you, like, how dare you be in my dream, dude? Like, I want to know how this came about. Like, did they all go to his house and they were like, wait a minute, you too? Like, did they just call each other up? Like, at least in Sandy's Rocket, they gave us an explanation. It was an invention. Not to mention that, while I can get, say, Squidward, Krabs, and even Plankton being mad, everybody else, it really doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Like, he didn't alter their dreams in like a horrible way or anything. He was just plain there. Not to mention, I don't think he invaded Pearl's dream, so like, why is she even there? Ah, well, I need to go find a quarter.
Does anyone have a quarter?
For some impressions, a guy with a mustache. Look at me, I'm a guy with a mustache. A pirate with an eye patch. Arr, I'm a pirate.
Is it bad I sometimes forget this episode was even a thing? Like, no joke, it's not all memorable to me. Gary Takes a Bath almost took this one spot, but I can at least remember the title of that episode. The Paper is an episode of SpongeBob that involves a piece of paper. Duh, what else? SpongeBob finds a piece of paper from Squidward's wad of gum and starts to use it to do all kinds of cool things, which is fun to watch, but maybe not for an episode. More like a quick short or a commercial or something.
Hey, hooray! That was great, Squidward. All those wrong notes you play made it sound more original.
What? I didn't play any wrong notes.
Squidward wants it, but as soon as he uses it, well, nothing happens.
SpongeBob, honestly, and his dumb paper.
You call that fun?
Yeah, think of it like that one episode with the box from the television. But the episode with the box is a bit more clever and ambiguous about it, so it worked there. Here, SpongeBob does all kinds of cool stuff, which even kids love. And Squidward is lucky to get even a giggle. Squidward ends up wanting this small piece of paper so much that he gives SpongeBob all of his prized possessions, including his house and the clothes off his back. Literally. And it's just tragic to watch. Again, over a piece of paper.
I can break a promise for this. Squidward, do you want your other stuff? Cause this is all I'll need.
You can have all that junk, cause now I've got this!
Yeah, again, a reason I think the box episode worked better was because Squidward in that instance got everything he wanted, like a giant TV. And they are ambiguous if the box really is magic or if Squidward just has like a weird imagination he's tapping into. Here, yeah, this one doesn't really seem all that worth it. Plus, comedy-wise, I don't really remember any of it outside of what's been memed to death. I don't know, what else am I supposed to say? I'm just moving on.
Hello, Sandy. Patrick, do you understand?
The weird thing is, this is one of my all-time favorite episodes. Like, I watch it pretty regularly. My class, back in undergrad, actually got our disability studies professor, who never watched SpongeBob or even knew what it was, to check out this one episode, and they loved it. Mr. Krabs has been hosting a weekly comedy night at the Krusty Krab.
I never thought I could be a headliner. Whatever that is.
The headliner's the one who cleans up after the show.
Which honestly sounds like a nice idea. I love when episodes do crap like this, and SpongeBob goes on. But SpongeBob's stand-up isn't the best, since being a funny person doesn't automatically translate to being a good stand-up comedian, so he ends up defaulting to racist comedy routines.
Did you ever notice how big squirrels' teeth are?
That's true.
SpongeBob! My word! So if you couldn't already guess, the episode touches on the idea of racial humor and hurtful jokes. Like, is it funny if everybody laughs, especially to the person or the group it's targeted towards?
Those jokes are hurtful, and you know it.
Come on, Sandy, I was just joking. I mean, everybody knows you're the smartest one in Bikini Bottom.
Well, I can't argue with that.
Which I think this very much depends on the audience and specifically what you're saying, but SpongeBob never got permission to do said jokes, or at least get advice from Sandy on how to do them without seeming hurtful or promoting stereotypes. However, I do appreciate an episode like this. I think it's a fine lesson to teach kids, and as a comedian, I do think you need to toe a fine line and know there is a fine line. Sandy at first just thinks she's overreacting, which is fair, the joke is about her, and her opinion matters the most. But then she realizes she's being treated like a pariah because people take the squirrel jokes at face value, which I don't know if it's more them saying like the jokes are promoting that or just like we need to realize their jokes and nothing else.
We gotta laugh at ourselves once in a while. I do it all the time.
Which I do agree with the episode about, but yeah, again, I think there's a huge difference if you make the point you don't really mean it and it's a joke. Like, yeah, sometimes, like, it makes me think of something of your character, but 9 times out of 10, I know you're probably not really meaning it. Just saying, I make dead baby jokes all the time. Do you really think I want to mash up babies and put them in a blender? I'm sorry, what? My thing is, though, SpongeBob wasn't making it clear he was joking, and he never told the townsfolk to lay off of Sandy. If anything, he just doubled down.
Take more than one squirrel to change a light bulb.
Why?
Because they're so darn stupid.
American Dad did something similar with White Rice, where Francine can get away with making racial jokes about her childhood at a comedy club, since a comedy club is a bit more personal and intimate and the audience is right there. So if something happened, she can always alter her stand-up or explain like, oh yeah, it's just a joke, I don't really mean it, I'm sorry if I'm being insensitive. But on TV, the audience is totally different and they aren't in the room with her. So even if it's based on her childhood, without context, it just comes off as a white woman making incredibly racist jokes. However, I do appreciate how they say that SpongeBob only thought of the one joke, so without the squirrel jokes, his comedy is super stale because when he is forced to do something else, he just can't think of anything.
Did you hear about the goldfish who went bankrupt? Now he's a bronze fish.
What? What did he say?
Like, you shouldn't rely on one gimmick or one thing because after a while, your routine is gonna be bad. Meaning, he has to resort to
Howdy, y'all! How come it takes more than one squirrel squirrel, the squirrel ain't a lad, Bob.
SpongeBob, you are canceled. Why don't you go to Fan Expo Boston while you're at it? So Sandy finally decides to show him that jokes hurt by acting like how she does according to his jokes. And he finally gets the message and decides to do the old South Park method where instead of making fun of one person, he makes fun of everybody, not just squirrels.
Crabs? Oh, brother, they're so cheap, they can't even pay attention.
It's true. I am cheap.
Which, I don't know how to take that, even if I do think it's funny. Like, I don't mind SpongeBob doing that, but he's still making hurtful jokes by the episode's definition. I think a better way for him to end the episode is either make the routine insulting himself, because as he says earlier, you need to laugh at yourself, and he'd only be hurting himself in that regard, even if there's a strong possibility that now the townspeople might start attacking him.
I mean, we're so dumb, we don't even have a vertebrae. Look at me! I got no bones.
Or maybe collaborate with Sandy on actual squirrel jokes, or at least squirrel jokes that aren't hurtful by her own definition. That way, he can get her input. Like, maybe he can still make the jokes, just don't be like, oh, she's stupid and she smells, because that's why people kept thinking she was stupid and she smelled.
You know, on my way over here, I ran into a squirrel. And I said, hey, why don't you go get a couple of your squirrel friends and we'll go change a light bulb?
Or maybe don't target Sandy in particular, because nobody is familiar enough with a squirrel who isn't her, so therefore they assume all this misinformation is correct. I don't know, I need to buy deodorant. What kind should I buy?
I think she should buy both.
Huh?
I would, but the TSA wouldn't allow it.
Amazing! 3 minutes in the kitchen and our son has taught him to talk in complete sentences. Oh, good work, son. It wasn't easy, Dad.
You know, funny story, this is actually one of my all-time favorite episodes. Yes, I am putting my own personal biases aside to do my job as a critic. It's just that this one felt relatable in the worst way, but in a way only I could find funny. Plus Tom Wilson from Back to the Future voices Marty, and I love how many voices he uses for SpongeBob.
A dumb one.
Just saying, for me, it's not the joke, it's how it's said. Patrick has been cleaning his house non-stop lately, and SpongeBob takes notice.
Well, Patrick, I came over to see if you wanted to go jellyfishing, but I can see you're busy having an episode.
SpongeBob, how dare you? It's not just an episode, it's a manic episode, and you're getting 3 more seasons. Anyway, Patrick reveals the reason he's crashing out so hard is because his parents are coming to visit, but they think he's basically a dumbass, and he's nervous he'll embarrass himself. I mean, wouldn't you be? So they decide on a plan. Patrick's parents will show up, and SpongeBob will act like a dumbass. That way, Patrick's parents will think that next to an idiot like SpongeBob, their son is the next Einstein. It sounds stupid, and this plan has a major chance of backfiring, since maybe they'll think their son is in good company, or they need to get him the hell out of there pronto. But the plan goes ahead, and it seems to go pretty well.
Well, aren't you going to show us inside?
He probably forgot where it is.
Oh, I know where. Oh, let me lead the way so we don't get lost, huh? Hold hands now.
But okay, why do I like this episode? Honestly, because if you haven't noticed or haven't met me in real life, I tend to act very childish and I'm pretty socially illiterate. I am very used to people treating me the same way Patrick was treated here. Like, I've had people in my life be shocked I can actually, like, take myself to an urgent care doctor, you know, by myself and fill out all the paperwork and tell the doctor my problem without needing assistance. I know, imagine. Like, honestly, that's actually happened before. They're like, wait, you can go to the doctor by yourself? Thankfully, most of those people aren't in my life anymore, but it still happens. Masking! And yes, I can tell if you're treating me like an equal, if you think of me as an equal, if you pity me or not. Think about it this way, like, oh my god, Patrick can pour soda into a cup? Oh my Christ on a stick, next he's gonna tell you his ABCs. Eventually, SpongeBob comes over and he starts to follow the script. The thing is, well, Patrick gets carried away and starts to think all the lies he's feeding his parents are true, and he starts to insult SpongeBob in a way that isn't really all that playful or jokey.
You should see him in the morning, prancing around yelling, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. He drives all the neighbors crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of this is what he really wants to say about SpongeBob, but he never could until now. Wow, what a jerk. And for the record, this is why people hate the episode. See, in the post-movie era, most of the cast degraded and became some level of jerk, and there was nobody worse in that regard than Patrick. He treated his supposed best friend like seahorse crap, and the few times Patrick is stood up to by SpongeBob, well, SpongeBob is the one who gets treated as being in the wrong.
Oh, he said my name.
Wow. How'd you train him to do that?
Ow! He bit me!
One of the worst lessons I've had to learn is that people will beg and plead for you to stand up for yourself and then get angry when you finally do. Here, Patrick's behavior is not as bad for me, even if, yeah, I don't approve of it in any regard. And like I said, I have been treated like that before a lot, or like paraded it in front of people like, oh, look at what you can do. I told you guys, Kitty Monk started off as a mean nickname. But for a lot of people, it's pretty out there. Especially since there is no jump from Patrick just pushing the envelope to like full-on hating SpongeBob and forgetting it's just a scheme. Like BGW, he forgets, but that doesn't make it any like less horrible.
I'm only pretending to be dumb. It was our plan.
If only you could see how stupid you sound right now with your talk of imaginary plan.
Maybe if he were like, wait a minute, you're always like this? Like if SpongeBob used real life stuff to make him seem more believable, I'd buy that. But as it stands, it's just plain weird. And I will agree with everybody, the ending is plain weird. First off, Patrick never apologized to SpongeBob because SpongeBob himself crashed out and ran home. And his parents, yeah, apparently those aren't his real parents. They're total strangers.
I feel like I'm really meeting you for the first time. Isn't that right, Janet?
You bet, Marty.
Janet? Marty?
And it's not something like they might know Patrick, or they might know of Patrick, or they remind him of his kid, or they have a son they mistook him for, or they're family friends, or neighbors, or like youth leaders, or they knew him as a kid or whatever. They just say,
Oh, that's right, honey. We don't have a son.
Oh, yeah.
Which I guess is funny from SpongeBob standards, but it just feels like a weird way to end the episode. Like, it makes no sense, and it arguably makes what SpongeBob went through 10 times worse. Since all of that was for nothing, it's like they just wrote themselves into a corner. And considering the Patrick Star Show, that might not even be his real parents either. And say what you want about Stuck in the Ringer, at least he made up for it in the end. Me, whenever I see a celebrity in public, the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episodes are some of the best of the pre-movie seasons, since Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy are some of the best characters in the pre-movie seasons. But out of all of the ones they did, like the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episodes, this one is probably the worst. SpongeBob spots Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy at the Krusty Krab one day, and he crashes out like crazy for an autograph, or as he says it, autograph!
Holy see how it's that Sponge Kid.
Even if he knows them and sees them on like a semi-regular basis, like they're on a first-name basis with him. Like he's house sat for them. I don't think you can get any closer than that. But hey, I met Brandon Rogers like 10 times by now, and I still get weird whenever I meet him. And no, this isn't a flaw against the episode, I just find it funnier. The duo know where this is going, so they decide to book it, and in the confusion, Mermaid Man accidentally drops his utility belt.
Mermaid Man's secret utility belt, the emblem of submersible justice. For 65 years, this belt has helped prevent the fall of nations.
Now, the correct thing to do would be for SpongeBob to just call up the retirement home and say what happened, so they can come back and get it. Or better yet, go over there himself and deliver it to the front desk. But...
Guess I should return it. Or not. I could just hold on to it until after work.
Who are you? Yeah, this majorly seems out of character for me. I'd rather the episode be like he keeps trying to return it, but they think he's doing something bad and they just keep ignoring him. Because yes, SpongeBob is a big fan of Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, but he's normally a good person for lack of a better word. Keeping the belt on his person until after work, which is implied to basically be until he gets bored of it, seems like something he would never do. At least Tookie had Patrick around to tell him to be a troublemaker. So SpongeBob decides to have some fun with the belt, which isn't a normal belt, but a small ray, and runs his own Sims version of the Krusty Krab.
There you go. Come again, sir.
Why is everything all tiny?
I don't know.
He's caught by Squidward, who teases him about telling on him, and what's SpongeBob's response?
Squidward, if Mermaid Man finds out, he'll kick me out of his fan club for sure. Please don't tell.
Yes, SpongeBob, that is the most pressing issue here, that you'll be kicked out of the fan club. Yes, dude. Yes, poor you. In a panic, SpongeBob shrinks Squidward, and in another panic, he shrinks Patrick verbatim, and I think you know where this is going.
You do to me?
I'm sorry, Squidward, but you made me do it.
SpongeBob, if you don't return me to normal size right now, you are gonna be in really big trouble.
For all of his trouble of not wanting to get into really big trouble, he sure is digging a bigger and bigger hole. Like to the point where he ends up shrinking the whole Bikini Bottom and stuffing them into a jar. Squidward, who is done with this BS, tells him to just go to Mermaid Man, and SpongeBob refuses because...
Oh, Squidward, he'll be so disappointed.
Well, you can't leave a small forever.
You don't understand.
Do I even need to say it? Like, oh, he'll be so disappointed. Like, yes, that's the majorest feeling he will feel. Thankfully, SpongeBob does get to talk to Mermaid Man, who doesn't give a flying fig. Like, he comes off as almost secondary. He's like, oh, okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's just that I'm such a big fan and you're balancing.
Oh, don't worry, son. I understand.
Yeah, they built it up so much that I think this wasn't very fitting. Like, they don't even acknowledge it at all. He's just like, oh yeah, I get it, it's fine. Not to mention that outside of the townsfolk briefly beating him up, he doesn't get a lot of comeuppance for it either. He just shrinks the town and they're like, oh, okay. And they're all happy. Like, he doesn't even apologize or anything.
I guess this is okay. Yeah, what's the difference?
Good idea, SpongeBob.
I don't know, it's not a bad episode or anything, but by pre-movie standards, yeah, it's not that good. I'd rather they say something like, oh yeah, it just wears off in like a day or something, not like, oh yeah, you gotta like turn it the other way.
Oh, it's like my grandpa used to say.
If we were meant to fly, hey, I'm not your grandfather. Well, here I go, Patrick.
Didn't I review this like years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago when I was first starting out? God, I'm old. By the end of SpongeBob's original run, the network started realizing the show was a profitable ratings trap, and they made the crew do all kinds of full-length specials. This was one of them. Really? This one? Like not Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy? Like I know one of those was meant to be a double episode, and I saw the animatic. Like it really should have been like animated and everything. In this episode, SpongeBob dreams of being able to fly with the jellyfish, thankfully without moving away and changing his whole identity spur in the moment, like in Nature Pants. Here, he has a dream, and it's just a standard dream. Like, I can respect that. Like, he probably knows he's never going to, but it would be cool if it happened. One of those kinds of dreams. And for it, he ends up being resented by the townsfolk who not only laugh at him and spit in his face, basically, but chase him down for simply having dreams and aspirations. Not dreams that are impossible to come true or harm people, just dreams in general.
We all had dreams.
What makes you so special?
Let's get it!
Okay, who pissed in your Cheerios? Eventually, SpongeBob is able to fly via filling his pants up with hot air from a blow dryer, and the townsfolk admit they were wrong. Just so they can basically use him as their little, like, gopher to do all kinds of ridiculous chores they don't feel like doing. Be it cleaning out their garages or rubbing their scalps.
But I'm rubbing your scalp. I don't even know who you are.
But we went to elementary school together.
Dennis?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, guys, listen. When I first made that SpongeBob video, I told you guys you needed to turn Dennis into a meme. What the hell, guys? No meme. But I guess this makes sense, since Christ on a stick, he would be a Dennis.
Oh, yeah.
SpongeBob is stretched pretty thin, even when his whole purpose for doing this is to just go to jellyfish fields to fly with the jellyfish. And for this, the townsfolk are pissed off. How dare he have reasonable boundaries like a normal person?
Hey, there he is! He's getting away!
No, he owes us favors.
Get him!
You have my permission to throw your remote at the TV. In the end, SpongeBob's reign is ended by Cannonball Jenkins, who tells him,
Nothing good would come from city folk and their flying machines.
No you didn't. I think one pet peeve a lot of people have with cartoons is when the town or like the neighbors are angry or pissed at one person even if they aren't one to talk, or they offer no alternatives. And I thought this was limited to the Fox cartoons. Like, it sucks that even SpongeBob succumbed to this.
I think a proper burial is in order. A pair of pants like these come around Once in a lifetime.
The only good thing they do is bury the pants. Like, they don't even apologize to SpongeBob. And the jellyfish do let SpongeBob fly as a show of gratitude, but it still hurts. And one more reminder, I ask nothing of you, but if you watch this video, to please turn Dennis into a meme, please.
Oh, yeah.
Save it for the loser, Circle Squidward. Gary happens to be in the best shape of his life.
I'll alert the paramedics.
Ooh, now we're cooking. To many people, this is the worst episode of the pre-movie era, but to me, I don't know. I rate these out of order and then I order them when I actually do the editing. For all I know, this is like the bottom rung. SpongeBob learns that a snail race is happening soon, which Squidward hopes to enter with his purebred snail, Snelly, who doesn't appear after this episode, I don't think. Squidward demeans SpongeBob and his mongrel Mud.
You got that right. Gary's no... Hey! What makes you so sure Gary couldn't win that race?
Papers.
Well, at least Gary won't die super young of easily preventable health problems. And for once, these insults don't fly over SpongeBob's head. Instead, he decides to show Squidward up by entering Gary in the race.
I'm thinking about entering you in that race and beating Squidward Snail. Looks like we're gonna start our training now, ladies.
Now, a plot about all three of them entering a race is perfectly fine for an episode. The problem, SpongeBob himself. Many episodes, both post-movie and pre-movie, play around with the idea of how SpongeBob views Gary. Is he just a pet, or is he a friend? A glorified roommate? A son? Regardless of all that, well, Gary is still an animal. An intelligent animal, but an animal nonetheless. If the voice didn't tip you off, he's the undersea equivalent of a house cat. For many people, when bad things happen to an animal, it's probably worse than when it happens to a human, I hate to say, since chances are either they can't comprehend what's happening, or they can, but they can't tell us to stop or to help, and they can't really fight back, so it hurts. This episode has SpongeBob become Gary's coach for the snail race, and essentially becoming a combination of a mother from Toddlers and Tiara, and then one coach from American Dad.
Gary, no more fooling around. Time to get serious. Come on, Gary, move it! Up, down, 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 down! Faster, faster, faster!
Gary, you better say goodbye to lemon wedges. Now, I can get the idea of SpongeBob wanting to one-up Squidward. Employee of the month centered on that idea, so it doesn't seem that out of character. But outside of himself, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob didn't really hurt anybody else. So it worked there. Here, he's hurting Gary in order to get back at Squidward, even if Gary wants no part in this. And it just hurts all around watching it and watching what he's doing to Gary. Like, poor dude.
Looks so good.
Not good enough, Gary! Not good enough! Faster!
And I get it, SpongeBob is getting carried away, but that doesn't make it any less horrific. Like, some of it honestly feels out of character with how far he's taking this. And remember, at times, he doesn't consider Gary his friend or his pet. He effectively considers him his son. And I get it, he means well, but that's not how it's coming off. Rather, it would be better if he acted like how he did in Grooming Gary, happy and well-meaning, but oblivious like usual until Gary said something. In the snail race, because he worked Gary to death like a dog, well, Gary is now on death's door. And SpongeBob sees this and treats him like he's lazy.
Get the anchors out of your pants right now! Don't give me that look! I said now, mister! Get going, Gary! Go, go!
SpongeBob, if you want to win this race so badly, why don't you go do it yourself? I mean, you did become a snail in that one episode. Wait, let me redo that. I mean, you did become a snail in that one episode. Gary races because SpongeBob won't shut it, and he ends up essentially ruining himself to please his owner. And only then does SpongeBob realize, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this.
Why did you just say I was pushing it too hard? You did? Oh, Gary, why didn't you tell me I wasn't listening? You did?
What? You think? This right here. At least there's a happy ending of Snelly and Gary getting together, and Sandy did kick SpongeBob's ass for the sexist remark he made, but was it really worth it? I don't know, it's on the list, you be the judge of that.
Come back!
Patrick, I'm not coming home.
I miss you! Sandy misses you! Even Squidward This is you!
Okay, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I did go over that I love SpongeBob and practically memorized every episode to the point where, unlike most of my other videos, I did not have to re-jog my memory by rereading transcripts or rewatching certain scenes. Like, except this one. I hated this episode. Like, I think as a kid, this was my overall least favorite episode next to the gorilla one. Even when I was younger, I hated it when it came on. I think it's because when I was a kid, a lot of stuff happened at home that the episode kind of reflected, and while it's clearly not the episode's fault, well, it was hard to watch at times. As an adult, I don't mind watching it, but I kind of dislike it for how out of character SpongeBob is. Just, like, for the sake of learning a lesson. Lately, SpongeBob has started having daydreams about giving up his mundane, boring life and living a free one in nature amongst the jellyfish.
Need to get you thinking about work.
No offense, Mr. Krabs, but I've been thinking about giving up my cold industrial life in favor of a more natural and free life among the jellyfish.
So basically, he's like one of those rich kids who went away to college for a semester and now wants to slum it with the poor, but not enough to actually, you know, be poor. Oh god, he's one of those. But unlike Eloise Bridgerton and 98% of them, he's gonna follow through. The thing is, well, as a grown-up, and this is kind of a nitpick, I find it weird he suddenly does. Like, I know SpongeBob loves the jellyfish and jellyfishing, so much so that he hunted them down to near extinction in one episode, but it just feels weird he has this sudden interest here. Normally, when the show tries to establish what SpongeBob is doing is a bad idea, they show where the idea came from. Like in Hooky, Patrick made the hooks look fun to him, hence him being totally willing to ignore Mr. Krabs' request to avoid them. Here, I don't know why he suddenly wants to live among the jellyfish beyond the episode needs it to happen. He loves his job, Mr. Krabs isn't treating him badly, he loves his friends, it just feels totally random. Like, I know it's a pipe dream, but why does he want to do it? At most, Mr. Krabs just disregards his dream because wouldn't you?
SpongeBob, you wouldn't last even one day in the wild.
But from an episode standpoint, they make it out like it's the final push he needs to finally live his true life, but it just feels weird when we don't know what the first push even was. But yeah, his daydreaming is causing him to burn money and force him to put out fires with his whole body. And when Mr. Krabs disregard him, like I said above, well, he decides to prove the haters wrong and live among the jellyfish, first by giving away all his worldly possessions.
And Squidward, I want you to have my can opener.
And I thought this friendship would never pay off.
SpongeBob, without context, this is a major red flag. Like, if your friend is doing this, please check in on them. Of course, his friends know he's gonna come back in a couple of days, if at that. Maybe 11 minutes, who knows. Except Patrick, who acts like he's gonna do something crazy and irrevocable. I mean, I already mentioned the red flag analogy, and not to mention that he gives him unreliable. Just saying, they had an episode where SpongeBob and Sandy doing karate was a metaphor for, like, a certain kind of addiction. I wouldn't be surprised here. I think what makes it worse for me is how condescending SpongeBob acts about it. And not like, look, I'm sorry, it's what I have to do, but I still love you guys, and this was a very difficult choice. It's more like, oh, sorry, I'm the only one who can chase my dreams.
Oh, Sandy. That's exactly the response I would expect from someone who lives the sham of a life I once lived.
Well, maybe Sandy had a right to kick his butt in the Great Snail Race. SpongeBob goes to live among the jellyfish, and of course, he finds that he's majorly struggling being something he isn't.
Hello, I'm Jelly Bob, and you are? Nice to meet you.
Just get surgery and make yourself look like a jellyfish. I mean, Gerald got surgery to make himself look like a dolphin. And not helping is how cosplaying as an animal means he can be hunted like one. Since Patrick takes matters into his own hands and decides to hunt his best friend down like an animal and bring him home.
If I can't have you as a friend, I'm gonna make you a trophy. I even picked out this nice jar for you.
And I hate to admit it that while I laughed like a maniac watching this episode, I can't really fault Patrick despite how crazy he's acting. We saw that SpongeBob was suffering, the jellyfish didn't like him, and he didn't really want to admit he made a huge mistake. But SpongeBob escapes and Patrick gives up, and it's pretty hard to watch. And he doesn't even care!
I hope you're happy.
Well, that's over. back to jellyfish matters.
Ew, what a jerk. And this isn't the only time he does it either. Earlier in the episode, Patrick tearfully pleads with him to come home, and he's just like, nah fam. Again, who even is this guy? Finally, SpongeBob realizes that being a jellyfish sucks when you have to put up with not having a home. So he wanders back to the Bikini Bottom and finally realizes, yeah, maybe this wasn't the right choice. What, you think?
You guys are the best. I made a huge mistake. Please forgive me.
Quit your blubbering and have a Krabby Patty.
Thankfully, his friends are there to cheer him right up. But yeah, not SpongeBob's finest hour, and definitely not his finest episode.